My name is Kennedy Mitchell, senior at Holly Springs High School, and I'm thrilled to be able to talk to you about the Philharmonic Association today. I've been involved in the Triangle Youth String Symphonia, the Triangle Youth Symphony, and the United Strings of Color. And I've been working with the organization for 3 years. So I'll go through a brief history of the Philharmonic, then running into the United Strings of Color, and then my individual experience with the PA. So the Triangle Youth Philharmonic was formed in 1988 when a group of 35 member musicians had petitioned Mr. Hugh Partridge, who was the principal violist of the North Carolina Symphony. They had petitioned him to help them form this youth orchestra. And so with the formation of the TYP came the formation of the Philharmonic Association to support this group. And the Philharmonic Association was completely run by volunteers and nonprofit, and they provided this group with ample support. Once the group grew large enough, they decided to hire its first executive director, Mrs. Margaret Partridge. In 2008, the Philharmonic Association became a City of Raleigh grantee, and this provided a matching fund for the National Endowment of the Arts Project, Discovering Don Quixote through Telma. And here's a picture of this project. It was a year-long project. It contained 3 full orchestras and a fully staged opera by Telma. In 2003, Mr. Hugh Partridge was awarded the Raleigh Medal of Art, primarily due to his work as artistic director of the PA. And in 2012, the Philharmonic Association was awarded the Raleigh Medal of Art. At its largest, the Philharmonic Association could support 3 full orchestras, 4 jazz ensembles, 2 string orchestras, and several chamber ensembles, one of which include the United Strings of Color, and also over 500 musicians annually. And here is the United Strings of Color's founding members. This was taken back in early 2019, I believe. So United Strings of Color was formed in 2018 as an initiative to address racial disparity in classical music. So here we have the League of American Orchestras. If you're unfamiliar with the work they do, they work to serve orchestra management from small youth groups to the major symphony orchestra. So in '93, they had released a statement about diversity and equity in classical music, which received backlash from the New York Times. And because of that, progress was halted until 2015. And most recently, they had released a statement in 2020 stating, "The orchestra field must continue its fight against all forms of discrimination to help heal our society and allow all people to be fully seen and heard." And in response to this, the PA favored the Director of Community Engagement's request to send a letter to Mayor Baldwin, and this was in June 2020. And this request was calling for police reform as a result of the murder of George Floyd. And such initiatives are not new to the Philharmonic Association. We've had initiatives dating back to 2003 to now, with our most recent one being the United Strings of Color. Beginning in summer 2019, the PA had released a statement with their vision and values, which included a commitment to diversity, inclusion, accessibility in the arts. To show just how much the PA supports us, 2 musicians in this picture received 3 private lessons, and 2 others have been lent instruments by the PA. help with their advancement. And so the work we do in the United Strings of Color extends far beyond music performance. Since our goal is to address racial disparity in classical music, one of the things we do is play music by underrepresented composers, such as female composers or Black composers for Black female composers. One of these composers has been Undine Smith Moore. We're actually playing a piece by her currently at our visuals called Nobody Knows. Here is the United Strings of Color in 2018 at the African American Cultural Festival, where we had performed many works by these female composers. Here's a picture of USC at the Omega Sci-Fi Quiz Bowl early last year before the pandemic canceled several of our bookings. One of these bookings includes the premiere of Ijapa and Mr. Ethan. This was a piece composed by local composer Elmer Gibson, and we were supposed to perform this at Bow Elementary. Here's a picture of the United Strings of Color with My Brother's Keeper, who has partnered with the Philharmonic Association. This performance was recorded at Moore Square. This is a more recent performance. This past December, we were given the opportunity to perform at the North Carolina Art Museum. And here we performed holiday music. And actually, one of the members of the audience was this young girl named Jada, who we now mentor. And her mom had told us, I wanted Jada to have the opportunity to play a string instrument with kids who look like her. And this is our most recent and latest or largest project so far. This summer, we plan to hold many vigils because after the death of Elijah McClain, who was a violinist, many musicians around the country began to hold their own violin vigils. And so we wanted to follow suit and form our own violin vigils where we are using our music as our voices. Really, we want to uplift the voices of Black students, Black musicians, or just musicians of color in general. We also have poets with us. They're student poets. We reached out to poets in Wake County to share their message. And on the topic of that, here is where we were reviewing these poems with Piedmont Laureate Kelly Starling Lyons. She had helped us analyze these poems and choose which ones would be best to perform. And on the topic of our vigils, we actually have one upcoming on the 25th, and you can join us. That would be amazing. The 25th is also known as the Day of Enlightenment now, and this will take place at the Raleigh Little Theater at 6:30 p.m. And now for my individual experience with the United Strings of Color and the Philharmonic Association. So I joined the Philharmonic Association when I was a sophomore in high school. Actually, I had been playing as a soloist since I was 8. I just never was involved in group performances because my school never offered orchestra programs. And so I was already familiar with their lack of Black representation in classical music. So coming in wasn't really like a surprise, but I think my first year I had played with the Triangle Youth String Symphonia, and after auditioning, Mrs. Partridge had reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be a part of an all-Black string quartet, and so I agreed. And together, we eventually became the United Strings of Color, and I'm very glad I got this opportunity. And there are two major reasons why I enjoy my time being a part of this chamber group. First being the representation that this group provides. As someone who's always grown up in predominantly white spaces and predominantly white areas, representation has been very important to me because I don't get to see a lot of it. And so knowing that feeling, I know how it feels to see someone that looks like you doing something that you may be interested in, or even if you're not interested in it, you may become interested in it once you see people like you can do it too. And being a part of, that's what the United Strings of Color does. And I'm glad that I'm able to do that for so many Black youth. For instance, Jada, we saw her. And we see at a lot of our performances, we actually see a lot of Black elder get very emotional seeing this, because it's like something that was once unfathomable when they were younger. They can see it with their own eyes, and that makes me really happy. And my second major thing was just, as I had mentioned before, it's not just about music performance. It's about getting the education, like getting to know these underrepresented composers who are playing. And I feel like this is an experience that you won't learn in the classroom. You won't learn playing in like major orchestras and symphonies. And being able, like my time here, I was able to learn about like Lawrence Price, Undine Smith Moore, and several other composers that have contributed to what classical music is today. And I'm thankful that I'm able to learn while simultaneously doing something that I enjoy, playing my violin. And overall, my experience with the PA has been very positive. Thank you.
What an absolutely wonderful presentation. We all salute you, Kennedy. I've already been asked, do we have times for questions? And I said for our youth, absolutely. So I would like to, Commissioner Patty Williams.
Well, I just wanted to first thank you again, Kennedy, and I believe that Margaret Partridge is on the call, and thank you for having the idea of creating the United Strings of Color to have this incredible representation of youth, and specifically Black youth in our community, to touch the lives of others. It really beyond warms my heart. I don't think I have any words for it, because this is to me what art is at its best. So thank you all. And if anyone has any questions for Kennedy, I'm going to go on mute, but thank you again. It's a great presentation.
So Kennedy, when there are usually no questions, that means that you nailed it. That means that you absolutely nailed it. As you know, as Director of Performing Arts and Film at the North Carolina Museum of Art, to have you there for the holiday concert and to have you in both buildings, you understand what that meant for me, and to see, I saw some of those elders that you're talking about with tears in their eyes. And I too would like to thank Margaret Partridge. We are working on something else. I did not get in on the violin vigils, but we're glad that Raleigh Little Theater did, and hopefully we'll have something else. Any other comments? Okay, our Vice Chair, Commissioner Dawson.
Hey, Kennedy, thank you so much for the presentation, and I just want to say good luck at Yale, and keep up the good work with music. It's awesome what you're doing.
Thank you.
Well, Kennedy, thank you again so much. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Gaston. How are you?
I am well, Kennedy. I just want to say I am immensely impressed and pleased and elated at everything that you've shared. I greatly appreciate the historical lesson. It was very informative. This was a very and presentation. Very well put together. Excellent job. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Kennedy, when do you leave for college?
Like late August.
Okay, later. Okay, so we still have a couple more months with you. Well, again, thank you. Who knows? You may be back at the North Carolina Museum of Art. And please give our best to the other persons that are part of the United Strings of Color and to Miss Partridge.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. What a wonderful presentation. Kelly, I'd like to turn over to you.